Today we have a fantastic panel of speakers lined up for you. Welcome to the OKR Consortium event, where key results become objectives.
Even though it's so hot outside, maybe it's even better here, right, than outside. And also thank you, Niall, for hosting us and the Liminal. So I think a lot of things came together today to make this event happen. And I will present today the case study from Aldi, because actually I work at Aldi Zuid. It's, maybe you know Aldi, which is Aldi North here in Amsterdam. I work in Düsseldorf in the headquarters, and Aldi Zuid is present in 11 countries. I work in e-commerce, and we are now launching it. So we launched already in 2 countries, and we will launch another 9 in the next years. Hopefully not so many years. And another hat I co-founded OKR Consortium with some other OKR specialists, for example, Andrei, who is standing there, where we consult on OKRs and give some trainings and so on. And besides this, my background is product management. I was working around for 9 years in product management, in retail, in FMCG and in energy sector. So this is actually the perspective I have on product transformation. And it's the perspective I also bring to Aldi, to kind of take a pragmatic approach to all these agile frameworks and make things which actually matter. So since I'm the 4th one, I expect that you all know what is OKRs, and I don't need to go through this. So it's a critical thinking framework which helps to align strategy and execution. It's a lot about processes, culture, people, the way we work. So it actually is everything, if done right. If not, it's another cargo cult and some spreadsheets people have to fill. And as I said, I have a background in product management, so I want to look at OKRs from a perspective of a product owner, because for me, even though I work like with the leadership and I work in establishing the structure top-down, I think one of the main customers of OKR is actually product owners, right? Because we want to empower them, we want to make their life easier, and also, of course, that they generate more value, which in turn should generate value for the company, right? So that's why I want to concentrate on them and on their pains. I don't know, I think some of you maybe had the same pains I had in 3 companies I worked in, which is product owner receives a lot of input. Like their input from stakeholders, as I said, in Aldi, for example, there are 11 countries, at least. At Henkel, where I worked before, there was 85 countries, a lot of countries, a lot of stakeholders. Of course, management. Sometimes management is agile leadership, but sometimes it's more directive, unfortunately, right? Then, of course, we are product owners. So there is end customer feedback, there is data, there is so many things, and we still have like our team who has ideas, and also these product owners have ideas. So much stuff. And every planning, I don't know, is it sprint planning or iteration planning, there is always this question: what should I focus on next, right? What is important? Why is it important now? What should I prioritize? What is valuable for my organization? And how do I make sure that what I do now is actually really valuable for my organization right now? This alignment part. And this is really hard. Honestly, when I was a product owner, so many times I knew why I'm doing this product and what I'm doing here, but I really missed this part of connecting with other teams, with the overarching strategy. And I think, it worked because I work in a big companies and we have a lot of money and stuff, but maybe not the most efficient way to do it. So this is a model of how we do it at Aldi. It's not one-to-one exactly how we do it, because I'm not allowed to share like one-to-one schema, but this is the concept, and very similar to what Megan also showed. We also have these value streams. And as I said, I focus on e-commerce. So this is kind of guides you through customer funnel, right? From awareness, acquisition, payment, fulfillment, so delivery, and then maybe customer service. And we group the teams into these value streams. And then we have some technical streams which kind of support those value streams, like data, customer ID, maybe some integrations. And looks nice, quite structured, but what you can also take from this slide is that there are more than 40 teams just supporting e-commerce. And at Aldi, we have 4 other domains. We have like supply chain, buying, all other things all other teams we need to align with, and 11 countries, right? So, and this poor product owner needs to find a way how to align with those people. I mean, hopefully he doesn't need to align with all of them all the time, but it's still a complex system which we have. So, and that's when I came with OKRs and said, okay, let's try doing some OKRs here. And of course, there was a lot of resistance because there were already a lot of processes, bureaucracy, and so on. And the point was how to make them actually pragmatic. I mean, I hope I will share with you 3 main points. Of course, there are much more, and change management is a big part of this, but just 3 main points which I think are very important. First of all, if your OKRs are mostly outputs, which is deliver something by this time, release something by this time, conduct 5 interviews, you will end up in just project planning. And the question is, do you really need OKRs, or you can just share what you're doing, and then you have user stories for this or whatever, right? Then OKR is a process, and it's an iterative process which should evolve. You should collect feedback, and you should improve this process. And you will maybe not see results directly from the first or second trial, and you should not kind of give up, but try to get learnings out of it and stick to it at least for 5-6 cycles until you really can see the value. And OKRs should be incorporated in your culture. Some processes might change, some structures might change, but they should be all working together. If you just have already existing team structures and then on top you put OKRs, that won't really work. So I hope that all of you know what's outputs and what's outcomes, but I just wanted to focus again why is it important and why it is so often the team starts with outputs. Team starts with outputs because it's easy. They are used to writing stories. They know when they will deliver what, right? They can mostly they can approximately say when they will deliver it, and then it's very easy achievement. Right? I delivered, tick mark, green status, great, right? And then you optimize kind of value time to market, right? So you can optimize your flow metrics, you can deliver faster, but in the end you end up being really a feature factory, right? Because you focus on delivery, you don't focus on the value. And then you can blame the business or other stakeholders who gave you maybe wrong ideas, but we want to empower product owners. That's why it's very important that you focus on outcomes. And outcomes also is like, for example, metric impact, right? We want to grow this metric, customer satisfaction, conversion, and so on. Because then you can also create so-called like hypothesis-driven development. You can see what worked and what didn't, and you create kind of this lessons log, which you can then share with your team, share with other teams, and you will focus not on time to market, but time to money. So you will really see that actually what you are doing, how much do you spend on this, and how much value we get out of this. It's a much better business case, right? So I also understand that we don't live in a perfect world, so I'm not saying that everything should be just outcomes. It might be, for example, that some very important feature just will be launched in the end of the cycle, and you will not have any outcomes yet. So just put it there, mix it with some other outcomes for other things, and make sure that you put the outcome of this feature in the next quarter, and then measure outcome in the next quarter. Okay, so this is the OKR cycle. As I said, it's a cycle. I don't want to spend too much time here, but basically, what we have, at least at Audi, we start with a yearly strategy for company and then for each stream. That is like co-created, and then we, of course, here several alignments happen, alignments with business stakeholders and so on. And then we communicate it to the teams, and teams write then their OKRs each cycle. They align between each other, vertically, horizontally. They populate them, explain them, and then they start doing ongoing check-ins. And in the end, we have a reflection. So reflections mean scoring, like what did we reach, what did we learn, and of course, retro on not just on the OKRs, but also on the process. And then, of course, important to review and celebrate, show the results. And it's very important, it's not about reaching all the goals, because if you reach all the goals, means that maybe there were outputs, or maybe they were not ambitious at all. But it's important that you learn, that you're a learning organization. and then you really improve your time to money, right? So this looks complex, but I really like this process, and it's actually quite similar to what Omar presented you. Surprisingly, I didn't see his slides before, but I think it's just maybe common sense, which I also tested with, like, of course, in our teams, but also with other clients of OKR Consortium. How actually to come up with this value stream OKRs, right? Like, it's easy to say, yeah, write the strategy, but how to write the strategy? So, of course, we have vision and mission, let's say for your pillar, in our case, e-commerce. And then you have, of course, like some market research team, which comes up with some ideas, with some trends, and so on. And then, so you have some environment analysis, right? You have it done. And then, I will show you also today an example of a KPI tree. You actually know which metrics are important to you in your stream. It might be one for the business unit, or might be one for the stream which is connected to the business unit, or for the whole company. You know what's important, like, for example, revenue per month, and how to cascade it down. So you actually break down one key North Star metrics to many levels, so that every team can actually see which metric they can impact, and how actually this metric in the end has impact on money, or what is like returning users per month, or whatever your North Star metric is. This one is you need to co-create. You can co-create, and then you put it somewhere that everyone has access to it, and it's very, very helpful. And then, based on those, so you already know approximately which metrics you want to influence. You know the strategic context. You ask people to come up with opportunities. I will come back. I just wanted to show you. This is the brief I prepared, and I also distributed to all our great stakeholder list so that they fill it in for every idea they have. It's like a big idea, right? So we are talking about yearly strategy. I think you might have it in your notebook. So that actually when we evaluate, we maybe don't have time to speak to everyone, but we actually have all needed information. And this is how we come up with some ideas. And maybe I missed this point, I'm sorry. So of course, by this or this, we need to still focus a little bit, narrow down this on some objectives. So it's not yet OKRs, it's just like some direction, what is important actually next year, and then we do opportunities. So of course, this all takes time. Afterwards, team comes together, groups these opportunities, and based on those, we already then write OKRs. Because what I don't like is just writing OKRs based on nothing, right? You just come and you just think, oh, it would be nice to have such a great conversion. But then teams are completely lost. They don't know where to start. Maybe it's even not reachable like at all. So here, when you have opportunities, you already have some base to start thinking about it. And I understand we are agile development, meaning that you might change your opportunities throughout the year. You might see that something didn't actually achieve it, but that's what this hypothesis-driven development actually is, right? So it's okay to change during the year, but it's good to start with something more tangible. Communicate, finalize, populate, and this is like the main. Okay, this I showed you. This is an example of KPI tree, which I promised you. So in our case, I did it more or less for each value stream as well, because, for example, goal of customer service is more cost saving, right? While goal of conversion or commerce is more like sales revenue. So costs and revenue are kind of a bit separate. That's why I just concentrate, like I thought it would be nice to have one for each area. And then you see how it is cascaded down. And then what's also important here, you see that these are like business metrics. They're like lagging, meaning that maybe directly we don't see impact of what we do. That's why we connect them to some leading metrics, which are product metrics, which are actually much easier to calculate, and for the teams are also more tangible. So if I have a checkout team, and then, of course, we track it, and then we see that we have a big issue with checkout to payment rate, and that's why we have some issues here or here, and then they will try to kind of improve this metric in the next quarter, and see maybe in the next year other metrics actually improve. So, and I have another complex slide, but also which brings kind of it all together, is, remember I told you that value streams kind of represent the journey. And this journey can be also represented on the product level in terms of a customer funnel, right? So awareness, customer came to our e-commerce website, let's say from some marketing channel, and then they go through the journey, right? They go through our product catalog, they add things to basket, checkout, there is fulfillment and close of the order. And then there are important metrics to measure at each step and see also where the customer drops. And this is also very good discovery technique to see where are the problems and to include these ones in the OKRs. So it might be yearly OKRs or quarterly OKRs, depends also on the level of the problem. But it's very important that it's kind of visible for everyone, that everyone knows and the problem and kind of teamwork together, right? So this was actually an example how it all in the end comes together, right? Data and then OKRs and teams, value streams, they all come together if they kind of have this means and the process to actually execute, right? So you strategize with OKRs, you also make it tangible, you write down strategy in this format so it's clear, it's known to everyone, it's not in a 100 slides presentation somewhere. Then you also, of course, measure with key results and regular check-ins, but you also have a overall KPI tree to measure what is actually going wrong with my product, where should I improve. And then you execute by connecting your OKRs to opportunities, big opportunities on a yearly scale, maybe smaller opportunities discovery on a quarterly scale. Then you prioritize it, iterate, check in, learn and repeat, and see how you actually improve, so that in the end, hopefully you can influence some of these metrics at the end of the year. So hopefully it was clear, and hopefully it is also clear to the product owners I work with, I hope so, because this is kind of brings much more structure and doesn't represent OKRs as another cargo cult which comes on top of all other things we need to do. So that was my presentation. If you want to discuss more with me or my team, here is also a QR code, or just write me email or LinkedIn or whatever. Thank you again.